On a day when there is an unprecedented crisis in the Indian Navy, Renuka Choudhary of the Congress Party joins us. She was going to be here on Newsnight for a different debate, but thank you so much for staying on for this extremely important story, a crucial time, not just for the Navy, but also for the Ministry of Defence. Renuka Choudhary, it is being hinted by several former admirals of the Navy and Army chiefs, as well as, air chiefs, saying that the onus is not just with the Navy chief, that Mr. AK Antony is equally responsible, that the Admiral has been made a scapegoat and it should be AK Antony who should be stepping down.
You know, I'd sincerely like that we don't contribute to any kind of confusion, because it's not just the naval chief we are talking about, but an entire Indian Navy that is watching these developments. I think the naval chief has conducted himself with the highest moral authority. I think it's tremendous. We should respect the man, that he came forward and in this time and day and has taken the responsibility, and the Defence Ministry and the Minister have dealt with this issue, and I think it should be left at that. Do you want a headless army and a headless Navy and a headless Defence Ministry? I don't think so. If there is any redressal of grievance that needs to be done, it can be addressed on a different forum, certainly not on national television.
No, but there are very serious questions, Renuka Choudhary, that need to be asked. Why did things have to come to such a head? Why is it that the Defence Minister has not spoken out? With a Navy chief stepping down, this doesn't augur well for the morale of the Navy.
I'm sorry, I think you've got it all wrong. I think the naval chief stepping down has upheld the highest traditions of the armed services.
But should he alone be held responsible, Renuka Choudhary? Should he alone be held responsible? Actually a collective action.
Sorry?
Should he alone be held responsible?
No, we are not holding him responsible. We haven't said that he is. Not at all. Any kind of governance in the armed services is with the collective decision and collective results. There's no doubt. But there is an accountability that is pinned at every rank and hierarchy. And if the naval chief has so thought it fit and has done it, I have the greatest regard and I salute him for that. I'm the daughter of a service officer, and I really respect my chiefs. And as soldiers and as families of the armed services, we all look up to them, and the direction of high moral duty and devotion to the country is established by such acts. So kindly don't just trivialize it or politicize it at this point, because I have a whole lot of armed services who are watching this debate and development, and I think we have to respect that.
Renuka Choudhary, there is speculation that the swiftness, the speed with which this resignation of the Chief of Naval Staff was accepted by the establishment, is leading certain people to believe that the Navy Chief was, basically given a fait accompli. He had no choice but to quit, and maybe there was pressure on him from within the system to actually put in his papers, specifically the MOD man.
I will not contribute to speculation. We cannot discuss the armed services with maybes and whereas and any of these. We just cannot. It is far too serious an issue, and I will not contribute to speculation.
No, but Renuka Choudhary, you cannot deny the fact that there are several orders that haven't moved forward, that the Navy at this time is dealing with a scarcity in terms of what really makes it superior. And that is all primarily because, and it's not just us speculating. You have former Navy chiefs who've come on the show and said that it is bureaucracy and red tapeism that is causing this delay, which has to be looked at. On the one hand, yes, where are those 10 reports that the Navy chief should have submitted to the Ministry of Defence? But I don't think that the Defence Minister or the Defence Ministry can just put their hands up and say we're not responsible.
No, I don't think so too. I don't think the Defence Ministry or anyone can abdicate any kind of responsibility where our armed services are concerned. And let me tell you, these are tales we've heard from every military of the world, where there's always that time lag in what the armies and the navies and the air forces need, and by the time the bureaucrats roll it out, it's an age-old complaint that everyone has dealt with. Having said that, it doesn't abdicate or absolve anyone of any kind of collective responsibility. We have to have the bureaucracy speed up on processes, and we have to have our services keeping their morale up. And these things can be worked out. It's a very can-do situation. And don't forget that we are wanting more and more transparency in the systems, and sometimes when we do that, it takes time. There's no justification.
Well, let's hope so. Let's hope so, Renuka Choudhary, because at this point it is an unprecedented crisis. A Navy chief has stepped down, the first in history. But nevertheless, thank you so much for joining us on the show. Renuka Choudhary of the Congress Party, who's been gracious enough to stay on despite a different topic that we had decided earlier on. Thank you so much, Renuka Choudhary. Sandeep, I want to come to you at this point. Are you fearing perhaps a spillover with what has happened between the Navy and the Ministry of Defence to kind of spill over to the other services as well?
Well, Maruk, you don't have to look very far, because the Army and the Ministry of Defence have had a serious, very, very serious problem in the last couple of years. And it was the inability of the Defence Minister to take a strong stance on the Army Chief that precipitated a crisis, which, as you know, resulted in what was being called the coup conspiracy in Delhi, when they actually got spooked by army movements, and things have never come to such a pass. So I guess it's just very, very ominous signs of the future and the armed forces in the months to come.
Shiv, at this point we haven't heard from the Navy Chief. DK Joshi has not spoken. Do you really see any kind of statement coming in from him? Or as it has been, you know, in the manner in which he has stepped down, perhaps we won't hear from him for a while?
Well, there are several reporters who I can tell you, Maruk, who are currently outside the Navy Chief's residence right now, including our editor of Strategic Affairs, Gaurav Sawant, and they're hoping to hear from the Navy Chief. You know, the Navy Chief in the past, you know, he hasn't been unapproachable. He's had press conferences. He's been pretty approachable. I spoke to him in Russia as well as in Delhi very recently. He's given interviews to Headlines Today on a couple of occasions in the past as well. So there's no reason to believe that he won't really speak out. But let's just remind ourselves, this is an extremely sensitive, you know, issue both for him and his family, but also for the entire Navy. So at this point of time, I imagine that Admiral Joshi will be collecting his thoughts, getting his affairs in order, because his resignation has been accepted. So he's no longer, you know, a serving Chief of Naval Staff. So if he has a message as far as why he quit, you know, what this moral responsibility really was, he'll have to get all of those, you know, thoughts, you know, in a sort of coordinated manner, because anything he says right now is going to reverberate right through the security establishment.
Shivarur, Sandeep Unnithan, Gaurav Sawant, thank you so much for all the perspective and the analysis that you brought in on a day when we've seen unprecedented developments. The Navy Chief, Admiral DK Joshi, has stepped down. He's tendered his resignation. That resignation has been accepted, and clearly this shows a breakdown of relationship between the Ministry of Defence and the Navy. Several questions are going to be asked. Was he made a scapegoat? Did he do this as a matter of symbolism to show the kind of rot within? Are there questions that the Defence Ministry needs to answer? All those perhaps will be answered in the days to come. Thank you so much for watching this special broadcast here on Headlines Today, and we'll continue to follow all the developments on this big story. Thanks so much for watching.